All right, now there's a couple of new faces. Hello, I am SJ. I am, been around here since the dawn of the day with Mike. Tradehouse Australia. Mike is the Yoda of the trading world. And we've been running these calls ever since early 2017. So if you're new here, hi. Now, a couple of things I want to speak to tonight. I had a really interesting conversation with Ivana. Now, I don't know if Ivana's on here, but she put up a story when I was away, and it was basically like, if your mentor is outworking you, like, why should something along the lines of like, why should your mentor be outworking you, or something like that. And I quizzed and I challenged her on it. Okay. Because there's a lot of stuff that I'm starting to unravel that I no longer believe in, that I just think is regurgitated motivational bullshit that really just doesn't fucking help anyone. And I challenged her on this, and I was like, can we talk about this? And she's like, yeah, let's talk about it. So the first thing, part of this conversation, and I want, everyone's input, Mike as well, obviously. The first thing I want to speak to tonight is the fear of success. Okay, now who here even knows what that is? Fear of success. Now, I know some of you have done Jenna's trade course, different, okay? My background is, trauma counseling, psychology, okay? Now, you can have fear of success in trading, but I want you to think of it from a different standpoint, okay? Who would ever fear success? Okay, now I know I've heard it so many times from friends, from clients, from traders, okay? And yet the fear of success holds so many people back from achieving what it is that they want to do, right? And the conversation went along the lines of, okay, so like, let's define what is fear of success. Fear of success, okay, in my understanding, is basically your concern about what happens to you once you become successful in said thing. Okay. And every single one of us experiences the world through what we expect to happen. I really want that to land right there. Okay. Every single one of us experiences the world through what we expect to happen. Like, think about it. When you cross the road, you expect cars to stop, right? When you sit down and have a plate of fucking spaghetti and meatballs, you expect it to taste a certain way, right? So your expectations is literally shaping the way in which you view your life. And that's including expectations of what you think happens when you, or, Mike or Nat become successful. Okay. So fear of success is made up of the beliefs that you have about what it means to be successful, and whether that's compatible with how you see yourself as a person, what your values are, and what you think is most important in life. Okay. So I've got a question for you. I want you to think about something or someone that you loved so much. This could be a pet, a parent, a spouse, a sibling, a best friend, a boyfriend, whatever, okay? I want you to think about something that you loved, or someone that you loved so much and you lost them. What did that make you feel? Write that in the chat. What did that make you feel? Not to get all like deep on you straight off the bat, guys, but I'm just trying to like challenge a different viewpoint of what success is. Okay. Lost, empty. Thank you, Faz. And I know this probably hits home for you very much right now. Okay. If you can, guys, write it in the chat. What did that mean for you? How did it make you feel? What story did you make true from that experience? Okay. Now, my second question to you is, and if everyone doesn't write in this chat, you're fucking lying. Have you ever found yourself wanting to achieve a goal and then not achieving it? Have you ever found yourself wanting to achieve a goal and you didn't achieve it? Okay. And from that, maybe you had thoughts of like, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep missing the mark? Why can I never fucking hit it? As if something's like withheld from you. Okay. Why do they get it and I don't? What's so special about them? Okay. So what I want to bring up here is a traumatic childhood, right? So what a traumatic childhood can teach you is that it's dangerous for you to get what you want. Okay. Maybe it was taken away from you when you finally got what you wanted. Okay. Maybe the people you love the most abandoned you and they left. Maybe the people you love the most passed away. Okay. Maybe you were criticized and put down whenever you started to do well or whenever you started to do something different. Okay. So what does that teach you? It teaches you that it becomes easier to just not get what you want. Okay. So then your self-sabotage is the thing that's holding you back, and it's just out of self-protection. Okay. So I'm bringing this up after a conversation about what our lovely little sister Ivana posted. And then I said to her, I'm like, do you want a real life experience of or scenario of this? And she's like, yeah. Like I should just bring the conversation up. But I recently had a really amazing session, like a one-on-one with one of our guys who he had a, mega foundational loss at a very young age. Like he lost his dad when he was really young. He's now mid-30s. Okay. And we've been dissecting what loss means for him, because when he takes losses in trading, it really gets him down. Okay. And through that dissection, he finally saw how it made him feel. And what it made him feel, in his words, not mine, that it's not safe to desire nice things because they could get taken away from me. Okay. So essentially what he's done is he's shut himself off from emotions. Now you'd think that would be good with trading, being unattached to everything. But when you also look at all the other aspects of his life, his romantic life is also a shambles, commitment issues. Okay. So do you see how this one thing, this one mega foundational thing has played out for him, right? He didn't even know how to connect with his deepest feelings of what he wanted the most. And that's to be a successful trader. Okay. So he's been running from success despite showing up every day and trying to achieve it. Okay. He's afraid of what the disappointment would feel like. So he's become, I guess, imprisoned by the fear of success, because he'd convinced himself that it was safer to not feel the possible highs that would happen if he ever became successful, because what comes with that is the possible lows, and he never wants to feel that ever again. So when you shut yourself off to one type of emotion, you then lose access to all of them. Okay, so what's at the root of that fear is avoidance. Okay, so fear of success, when we think about it, it's actually quite an irrational fear at its core. Okay, and although it can be really helpful to understand where it came from, it's not usually the reasons why your fear of success is still sticking around. Okay, the main reason why your fear of success is sticking around is because you're avoiding it. Okay, you're avoiding your fears, and avoidance is what you do to stop feeling the fear of success. Okay, you avoid the things that that make you feel the fear. Okay, so I want some homework from this first section, guys. What are some of the things that you're avoiding in life and why? I want you to really ponder on that. What are you avoiding in life and why? Sorry, Cindy. Wow, that hurts. Okay, this is why you as a trader, you cannot ignore the mind, right? And if you're living in this, if you are, then you're living in this really dangerous misconception that you can just push your emotions, push your beliefs aside and think you're going to make six figures trading. Like, you're not. Mike, do you have anything to add to that? The fear of success.
Oh my God, I have a lot. What you were just talking about is such an intimate, but such a powerful and such an important, thing. What we feel, what we've been taught is what rises must fall. And that the other thing is, to really add on to it, that she didn't happen to say, was that it's normalized. And when it's normalized, then that's where she just didn't use that specific word, but the word expectation. What it becomes normalized is then what's expected. The metaphor I always give for that is like, if you know somebody, or maybe even yourself, that got attacked by a dog when they were a kid or at some point in their past. from that experience, or you could use the word trauma or memory or again, whatever, something happened in the past that is literally dictating behavior right now. Let's not use the dog example. Let's use like swimming. If you know somebody who almost drowned when they were a kid, 20 years later in their life, they have friends or whatever that are all going out like to the lake or to the beach or something. But what that person who's scared of it will do is create an excuse or a reason not to go. Because the real reason is because they're scared of the water. And they're just like what SJ was saying, they're avoiding it. So again, something that happened 15, 20 years ago in this very present moment, or, when you're trading or at any given moment, is absolutely dictating the way your brain is emotionally and biologically operating in that moment. When other experiences create the same emotion from that, that's where the connection is made. That's how other things end up affecting other things, because if it is a feeling of, let's say, loss or sadness, from let's use the one fear over the swimming example. Whenever you experience fear from, let's say, almost losing a trade, the fear of drowning, the same, again, biological sequence that's happening in the brain is literally identical. And so it's not just, again, even traumas or experiences. And this is the other thing that I wanted to add to it, was the word I typically use for this is beliefs, but I hate that word because it's extremely cliched at this point, because what the hell does even the word belief mean in this day and age? But again, not even just a traumatic childhood. All of our childhoods create every single belief that we have. What's right, what's wrong, what's left, what's right, what tastes good, what doesn't, what we've been taught about history, what we've been taught about everything. So it's also emotional auditing of yourself, of where that fear is really, or again, not even just fear, but your belief, and there's that word again, of what is possible in terms of expectations of business or love or happiness. So many people are scared of happiness because it is simply unknown. And we fear the unknown. What is it like to truly, again, be happy? It's almost like we will self-sabotage in some way, because it's almost that we want to get back onto the path that we normally walk. And that's how human beings are. You could use another word, addiction. We are addicted to pain. And we are addicted to those experiences because it's easier to do that. So again, we feel what rises must, of course, inevitably fall. And that fear of that is, again, it is such a paramount conversation in, yes, especially trading, but I mean, in life in general. It absolutely shows itself in very critical moments in trading, right before you get into the entry, and like, should I do it? What should my lot size be? And asking 50 different questions in like 15 seconds and expecting your brain to have an answer for every single one of them and be, logically sound instead of emotionally reactive. It is a lot easier to regress into that in those situations. So just like what SJ said, auditing your memories, auditing your experiences, auditing why you believe what you believe. You'll be amazed how many people, again, simply believe things because that's just what they were taught to believe, and they've never challenged it. So therefore, this belief must be true. And again, that is a lie. Whoever taught you those beliefs, you're going to end up with the exact same result if you are literally believing and operating the same way that they are. Right. And that's why my challenge to add on to that is to, again, audit why you think certain things are the way that they are. I'll just use one example and I'll hand it back to SJ. But as an example of, again, auditing yourself, if you are religious or not religious, if you are religious, what if, beyond a shadow of a doubt, God was not real? If you are not religious, imagine for a moment that 100% it is real. stand on the other side of a belief that you really do live by. Just stand on the other side of it, not to intentionally just want to prove things wrong, but to question why. And that applies, like, why am I in fear of trading? Why do I believe or operate or execute decisions on moment by moment basis the way that I do? How you do that is auditing why you operate a certain way. Good.
It's some people, for some people, success, as much as they want it, it also feels threatening.
Yep.
It feels threatening and overwhelming to people. That's why, like, I wish I could remember the exact, quote that she posted. But that's also, like, there's just so many things, Mike, that I'm choosing to just no longer believe it. And like I did a mega story on it the other day about we've all got 24 hours in a day. Do you know how many times I used to like regurgitate that? And it's like, it's toxic, it's belittling, it's like, literally, yes, we do. But then we've got to factor in, maybe you're not a mother at home that's got 3 kids that also works a job. Maybe you're not like Stu, who drives a fucking truck for 13 hours a day and then has to go home and be with his family. Maybe you don't have mental health issues. Maybe you don't have physical, disabilities that basically cripple you. Like there's so many factors into it. And I think that's where a lot of, privilege comes into it. And I think the people that say, we've all got 24 hours in a day, you're fucking privileged to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can.
What if you're worried about food?
Exactly. And so there's just all this motivation, rah, fucking rah. Makes me want to just like delete Instagram and
yeah, that we've talked about it
get on
many
any
times.
mentorship calls because I'm just sick of hearing it.
It's just toxic grind culture. Like it is a problem in this generation.
Yeah.
Because it creates other behaviors as well. Like if you're not doing what you feel everybody else thinks you should be doing, then you avoid, and then it just that's how, again, it starts affecting everything else, because then you start trying to live 2 separate lives.
And it breeds shame as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not working as hard as him, so maybe I don't want it as much. Bullshit. Now, the second thing I wanted to speak to tonight that I now no longer believe after all the questions and conversations that we've had, Mike, we say it all the time. There is no difference between a demo account and a real account. Now, hear me out. Physically, there's no difference. Okay, so I wrote it in the Discord because one of the conversations I'm having with one of our new guys at the moment is like, I've just gone live and I'm just losing my shit. And I just feel like the loose thing of, yeah, but there's no difference between a demo and live is just a whole heap of shit, because there actually fucking is, right? So why does everything change when money is real? Okay, now I know we say it time and time again that there is no difference between a live and a real. And the more I think about it, the more the conversations I have, the more I disagree, because I agree in the sense that, it looks the same, the process is the same, the strategy is the same. But if we look at it from a psychological stance, from the view of how the brain actually operates, it's not the fucking same. Okay, because with a demo, nothing is at risk. Okay, but when we trade real money, there's a part of the brain that's activated. Okay, and I know for a fact when you're on demo and you're having a really good time on demo, confidence starts surging, right? When we're paper trading, and you can almost imagine the promise of, financial success on a demo, right? When you're doing really well. But the problem is that paper trading, it does not trigger the instinctual emotional responses to the threat posed by having real money at risk. Okay. And that right there is, I think that's the undoing for many traders, because every time you put capital at risk, there is a lot more going on behind the scenes in your emotional brain than what people give credit to. And so, as you all know, Mike and I bloody love talking about the brain, and there is this, ancient part of the brain that is concerned with survival in the moment that you're in right now. Okay, it's wanting to control the outcome. It's wanting to, avoid death, which in our case is losing. And so, in our brain, money is not perceived as this legal tender, but it's seen as this, what's the word? This, I guess, personification of power, right? Of safety, of status. Okay. So when money is real in trading, to our brain, everything is threatened. Okay. So this is exactly why everything changes when the money is real, because suddenly your primitive survival brain perceives this threat to its literally whole existence, right? Its biological existence. And it's trying to seek to escape the threat, like right now in this moment. And it does that by triggering flight and fight response. Like I was on a call with one of the guys today and he was in a trade and got out of it like that. Fight and flight. Okay. So until you learn to master this dramatic, I don't know, difference between the emotional brain, survival in the moment, to the thinking brain, which is what we need to have to be thinking in probabilities, you're going to remain stuck in the psychology of performance, I guess, and it doesn't match up with your needs of success in trading. Okay, so what do you have to say on that? What do you have to say on that?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
breaking that down a bit more. I'm just trying to just make this.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree. The idea, and maybe I don't always express this enough when I personally make that statement, is that it is the goal.
Yeah.
It is not because usually I always, off of my memory, usually what follows is that, yes, obviously there is a difference between demo or live, and that injunction is because of everything SJ just clarified. The goal is to be able to not see that, and obviously that's not just, oh, okay, we just turn that switch on. That is like what needs to be worked on, what needs to be progressed towards, is when I'm talking about, again, demo versus live. When I'm specifically saying that, it's, again, yes, about the process or the repetition of do this math, plug these numbers in, and again, the physical process of the trading, not the emotional aspect of it. Because yes, absolutely, the brain, it's just like when you play Monopoly. Have you guys ever played Monopoly for no money? But then have you ever put, like, $100 or $500 down on a game? You would play completely differently in the board game of Monopoly. If you had real money on the line, that's the type of Monopoly game that will go for what, 6-7 hours, because everybody's operating differently, as opposed to when it's just a normal game and are just, it's Monopoly money. It's the brain would perceive it the exact same way. So again, it is I wouldn't say a dream, but it is a goal that we need to aspire to, which is how we take the repetitious action, like rep, doing the same action over and over and over, and translating that into the live account. Because in my opinion, of course, that's what needs to be worked on far more than anything else. Because just like if you guys wanted to use the word discipline, how much discipline is lacking? Like, if you have, SJ asked, have you ever attempted to go for a goal and then failed? The lack of the repetition of it is what creates, again, the failure of said goal. Whether it's, do you want to learn to play an instrument, or speak another language, or start a diet and actually stick to it, whatever. The repetition of sticking to the diet, or the repetition of picking up the instrument and practicing day by day, that behavior is what really translates the results, right? If you want to learn another language, you need to be rep, practicing and flexing that muscle in the brain that's teaching your brain the new language, right? That is, just again to clarify, there is no difference with the live or demo account. In the caveat of being a human being, yes, there absolutely is, without a shadow of a doubt. There we all have experienced it. You've traded a certain way on a demo account, made, $18 billion, and that's not going to translate over to a live account in obviously that exact same way. But I like that you clarified as well, because it can be misleading to somebody that just hears that and again goes for that pillar, or that the top of that mountain, so to speak, and then again creates this, why am I not able to do that like everybody else supposedly can, when again that's definitely not what we mean. So I like that you bring it up, because that clarification is absolutely important.
The reason I brought it up is because I never want anyone, I don't like the thing I love about the Trade House is we encourage you to think for yourself, right? And you just got to go on Instagram and social media and just see a lot of people just regurgitating shit, and it doesn't make sense. They just read it and it sounds good, and they just, share.
Or
And
it's too vague. Like,
which
oh,
that
you got to work on your mindset. What you tell that to me. What do you do with that?
yeah.
Like, okay, I want to take action. You tell me I need to work on, again, discipline or your mindset. Like, okay, I want to work on my mindset. If a person that is asking for that information does not know the answer to the question, which is of course why they're asking the question, saying the just like that, those one word or just one sentence cliches are not really helpful. They're not. And that's why, again, I brought up like the rep thing or talking about emotional auditing. Those are practical applications of how, at least in my perception, of course, how to work on that. Because again, what creates discipline is repetition. It's not just, oh, work on your discipline. It's the desire of, what the reps are doing, and obviously committing to it from there. But I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's, I guess what I'm trying to also say is like, it's not useful. It's not helpful. It's not useful. And for us to dissect something like that is useful for you guys. So you just don't hear us say, oh, you got to work on your psychology. It's like, okay, what part? If you don't know what part, then that's what you can come to us about. Like, this is shit I love, going deep as your butthole type thing. Like, let's fucking talk about it. Like, 3 knuckles in, we're going in. We're going to figure this
Oh
out.
God. That went 0 to 100 real quick. Okay.
So I
All
want
right.
to, positive thinking doesn't work. There's no live, laugh, love shit around here. Okay. We want to give you stuff that is useful. So, which is why, prime example, I share that, with permission, the example of one of our students who's having a hard time with loss, right? My other one-on-one we had tonight, she has a fear of failure. I'm like, so what are you scared of? She doesn't even know. Define what it is you're scared of, guys. Define that. Define success. You can't, if you haven't defined it, it's all, whether that's success or failure, it's always going to be this elusive thing for you because you don't even know what you're going for.
It's just a boogeyman.
Literally. I'm scared of failure. Of what? What does failure mean for you? Okay. Now, my last question, and I don't really have anything to say to this one very much. But so this one is just purely for you, Mike. What would you say? Because there's lots of new people that have come in since I've been gone, which is amazing. What do you say to someone who's just having a hard time with trading? Like, they are marking up right, they're getting everything pretty good, but yet the trades just aren't really working out for them in terms of a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep them afloat?
I tell them that it's okay to sink. And what I mean when I say that is just like what SJ said, this idea that you can always be positive. You can, everything will, just in one way or another, it live, laugh, love. I hate that shit. I truly do. Because the negatives are going to happen inevitably. And so it's not why am I going through this experience? And why are the trades not working? And why are all of these things happening? It's that actually, truly, in fact, those need to happen. Pain is how growth happens. You only learn through pressure. We only, as human beings, guys, it's how we operate. So I don't try to say, like, I don't try to be the shoulder necessarily. I try to be more of them figuring out that they don't need the shoulder to lean on, that there is times where life is going up and times when life is going down. Resistance or avoidance is what most people do. It is why is my training not working, and never actually addressing it, which is kind of, again, the subtext of this entire session tonight. It's not, again, why is my life falling apart, or why are the trades not working out? It's more so, again, learning through that experience, not resisting it. There is an absolute reason why we are winning or losing, not just in trading, but in life in general. The decisions that are made around all of that is what creates that reality. So let me put it in an example. When people consistently are losing, again, it becomes normalized, and then it becomes an expectation. And then there's more self-destruction that happens, because not only do they expect that, it then happens. And then it causes even more doubt and even more, because now, look, it's confirmed. Now it's happening. Then they maybe go through the emotional roller coaster again, build themselves back up, and then it happens again, confirming, oh, look, I don't know how to do this. It's not working, this and that, whatever. Until the lesson is understood, why these things are happening, the lesson will continue to happen. The universe will continue to test you on things that you need to grow or pass through. The universe is not going to test us on things, guys, that we are ready to go through, that we have the answers for. Because if you knew what to do and have the answers for a test, it's not a test. The test or the problems come from the thing that every single one of us, me, SJ, all of us here, every single one of us could get on this call right now and say what we're going through and what we're battling with, right? Could we not? Every single one of us, right? The commonality between all of those things is that they are in place, first of all, because we are asking for it, because we are asking the universe for more. So therefore, we will be tested more. I say that a lot, because if you weren't asking for any of these problems, or not problems, but a higher level of experience of living, of wealth, happiness, love, all of it, what is the easier path? Not asking for any of those things and constantly complaining and doing the same thing over and over and over. It is a lot easier to do that. You guys all know what I'm talking about, right? When you're in hypnotic rhythm and you're having the same conversations with the same people, doing the same things every single day. I did it for 10 years in the food industry. Nothing was really improving in my life, and nothing was getting worse. It was the worst possible thing. It was flatlined. Have you guys experienced, like, nothing is really going down crazy and nothing is ever really going up? That rhythm is comfortable, and it is very known to us. It is very easy to stay on that path. What we are doing here, guys, is not just, oh, I want to learn to make money and catch pips and blah, blah, blah. No, what you were asking for is to go through that metamorphosis and that process of literally shifting you, all of us, into a higher level and a higher version of ourselves. How can that happen without pain?
Yeah.
How can that happen without pressure? How can that happen when you do not go through tests or obstacles or challenges? If there was no reason for these obstacles or challenges or tests, then by definition, shouldn't we already be wherever it is that we want to be? So the very fact that we are not there must dictate that these tests are in the way. And that generates the most important question. What do you really want? Do you want a life that is extremely rewarding, but very difficult? or a very non-rewarding life that is very easy? Do you want the easy life, but nothing, again, like not the dream car, not the dream house or whatever? Because it's not a question of, can I do those things? We, of course, can get whatever it is that we want. That's not the question. What matters most is, what does the individual want at that particular time? It is easier to not do the things that we're talking about, guys. It's simply easier to just scroll, or easier to just watch TV than to pursue. But if you do not understand what's at the finish line of what it is that whatever it is that you were desiring or wanting, and I'm removing time or money as that being the destination, because assume time and money were not an issue. What do you do with the time? What do you do with the resources and the things that you now have? If you can't answer that right now as a human being, then you do not know, in my opinion, what makes you passionate, what puts the fire in you to give you the drive or the gasoline to go through those challenges. Because you can't just sit here and say, well, I want to be successful or whatever, because again, that's what society and that's just kind of what I've always been taught. So I'm going to try to force myself to go through this and to go through this pain and go through all of this, shit of not working out. What will the brain do? It will talk itself out of it, right? Hasn't it always done that, guys? Haven't you always talked yourself out of a diet or learning another language, or somehow, some way your brain is like, no, I'm too sore today. No, it's too hard. No, I'd rather just do this. Your brain will find a way to beat itself. But again, if you understand why you are going through this, then it's not, again, why are these things happening to me? Which is getting back to the original question. It's now I get to go through this, as much as that's hard to, wrap our minds around, us embracing the fact that we have to go through things that we do not want to go through, things that we are not ready for, things that absolutely knock us down. But just like in markets, guys, what happens when the market's extremely bullish? There's pullbacks. Just like in life, there's pullbacks as well. So the idea of how do I deal with pullbacks is that it's just a part of it.
Yeah.
And hopefully, again, that you understand that that is like the price or the currency of the universe that you are paying to get what it is that you want. And if you know what it is that you want, you will, all of us as human beings, we run through walls. We meet an obstacle and we're like, that's not an obstacle. And then we find a solution naturally. Everybody's experienced that before. If you wanted something bad enough, you got it, right? Okay, well, this needs to become that mentally, not, I have to, I'm really, really trying. It's no. I want this and desire that more than anything over these other things. I hope that makes sense, but it's just learning to embrace it, not resist. When you resist, you hold on and it's weight and you move slower, you think slower, blah, blah, blah. But if you allow the things to happen, as crazy as that sounds, you learn why it's happening. And then you can remedy the causation of why these things are happening. Therefore, it's a lot less likely to occur again. That's just how we learn and how we grow. So it's, again, not running or avoidance, it's acceptance.
You're so right. Like, we all want profits, right? That's why we trade. But sometimes the market's just not in a giving mood. Okay. Instead, it likes to take some from us. And they're the things that the things that you then feel from that is obviously irritation. You feel rushed, you feel overwhelmed, you feel annoyed, whatever it is. But guys, one thing that, until I realized that I don't control how the market behaves, and I cannot be profitable all the time, but over enough trades, hopefully, my profitable trades should make up for the losses that I will incur, right? Until I understood that. Okay. But it's that thing where it's like, in the immediate, right now, there's going to be days, there's going to be weeks, there's going to be months where Mike will take losses. I will take losses, even if we're following our plan to a fucking T. Okay. It happens, but this is how probabilities show up. Okay, so it's this realization for me where I had a really pivot. How do I say that word? Pivotable. That's my word of the night. Pivotal moment. Okay, that if I follow my plan with discipline, and I still get losses, I never let myself think, I need more, I need to make more this month. I need to get back what I lost. Guys, professional traders don't think like that. We don't think, oh, I didn't make that much last week, I've got to make up for it this week. Okay, guys, you've got to understand there is nothing to get back. Okay, there's nothing to get back. In the short term, the market is going to take some. It's going to give some, it's going to take some. Just like Mike was saying, with the retracements, the pullbacks, you can't control that. You can only control how much it takes. Remember that.
I think I found the easiest way to think about it. Losses are inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of struggling and battling with it is like looking at the yin and yang symbol, and the yin representing wins and the yang representing losses, and getting pissed off at one side of that symbol. It's like it's absolutely inevitable. What 100%, it would be like the equivalent of getting mad when you call heads and it lands on tails.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous when you put it, it absolutely has to happen. So the idea of battling with it or struggling with it should only ever come from over leveraging. But if you just lost 1%, that, or a 0.5% or whatever, that should be like, again, the equivalent of just, oh, I called heads, but it landed on tails. I called a buy, but it went to a sell and hit my stop. Yes, it sucks. Like, obviously we want to win, but the idea of like holding on to it, that regression and weight of it is just, it's like, again, being mad at yin and loving yang. It's just ridiculous.
Facts. Guys, do you have any questions? Notion has been impactful in turning the emotion of loss. Yeah. Want a lesson in data. Guys, I'm actually going to be making a slight little change to the Notion template in the next week. I'm adding a section in specifically for your rules, so they're right there. Just swapping up a couple of things, adding some things in. So stay tuned for that. If you have any additional feedback for Notion that you would like done differently, something that could be done easier that I haven't figured out, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. Who has loved tonight's session?
I have.
It's been so good to get back. So
it really has.
It's been amazing. Guys, next week, any topics, come to me. We may have Rock on next week. We may have Rock.
Rocky Poo.
He just Rocky Poo. He just messaged me, but I haven't opened it yet. So he may be
He's also about to go live on Go Live.
Yeah, okay. I think that's what he was saying, that his session is now an hour later. So that may work well. Okay. That may work well. So if Rock is going live now, you guys would be crazy to not jump on his session. Mike, thank you. So good to be back, everyone.
Yes, it is.
Let's pump the numbers up next week. I'm so glad all 29 of you are here. I want to see the numbers of like 70 and 80 again. So hit up everyone you know and get them to be here. I'll throw some toxic positivity in there, even though it's 5 a.m. If you're not on, you don't want it bad enough. Jokes. Get your sleep. You guys know I record them. But thanks, everyone. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any specific topics you'd like us to speak on, tonight was just literally going off conversations that I've had from one-on-ones since being back. But if you have anything for us, bring it to us. Okay, we're here to deliver. We want to give you guys what it is that you need. All right. Appreciate you all. Mike, good morning. Everyone, good night.
Love you guys.
Bye.